Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm Nick Earn. I'm the Managing Director of Alkane Resources, which is a gold producer and explorer with most of our activity in the central west of New South Wales. So let me tell you a little, this is sort of the high-level bits of our company. The first bit is that we have a demonstrated record of producing, and we've been producing at Tomingley, our gold mine, since 2014. We have a track record of exploration. We've got over 50 years exploring in New South Wales, and many of the deposits that we talk of today, and that includes McPhillamys that we joint ventured with Newmont, have been discovered by our exploration team. So I'll talk a little bit about that because we have a lot of exploration results still coming. We've made different deals over the past to create shareholder value as well, and we have a very solid balance sheet as we go through a capital upgrade program at present, extending our mine life. So I'm going to dive into those things. First, to the recent highlights of our company, remembering that we are a producing miner. So in the last quarter, we had a disappointing quarter by our standards as we ramp up. I'll dive into that more. But we still consider ourselves on track for the lower end of our guidance of 60,000 ounces this year. We have released an updated reserve statement for our mine, and so the underground mine at Roswell, so we now have over 500,000 ounces in reserve there. And the plants that we're upgrading right now, spending money on, I'm going to tell you about, and they're progressing very well. And then we have this really big project, which is a large copper-gold porphyry, the Boda and Kaiser system, which I'll be telling you about. We put out a lot of results on that in the last little period. In fact, on the 29th of April, we just upgraded our Kaiser resource. These fine-looking fellows, of which I am numbered amongst one, is our board. Just draw your attention to Mr. Gandel, who is our chairman, but also the 18% shareholder. So here, when we talk about 20% directors and management, 18% of that is Mr. Gandel's share of the company. And I'll also draw you a little bit to our balance sheet at present. So we have cash and gold bullion of $35 million. We've drawn, of a $60 million facility, we've drawn in the $20 million, about $26 million worth of that. And that is not included in the cash balance. So, because this is the 30th of April, and this is the 31st of March. So logically, we have 26 plus 30 in current cash as if we stand right now. So first to Tomingley. Where are we? This is in between Dubbo and Parkes in the central west of New South Wales. Like I said, been operating since 2014. We have an existing mine up here, and then this is the Newell Highway. We have a whole series of tenements down the Newell Highway, and we have a very large resource base underneath that. So this is our active mine and where we're talking about at the moment. So we are currently spending a lot of money to develop this mine here at Roswell. So this is an underground drive that we have that goes for 2.5 kilometres from our existing underground workings, and this is all go. We have a mining front active here at present. This is our new mining area. This extends our mine life out to 2032 at a run rate nominally from this underground of 80,000 ounces, and then when we add the open cuts, moving us to over 100,000 ounces. So a lot of these things I certainly encourage you to come and talk to me about in the booth, because there's a fair bit to cover here at the moment. But all these different things are activities that we have underway. We have all the approvals and licences we need to extend the mine life, which will take it from 2014 to 2032, so that's an 18-year mine life overall at the time. We have an underground drive. We are mining here right now. We have a whole heap of other projects underway. We've got our debt set up with Macquarie to fund it. And then, of course, we'll look to ramp the open cut. This is a picture of our underground mine. So we have not yet mined this open cut. We have all these coming over after the 2.5 kilometres. We have these levels in place, and this is just the first stope that we've halfway through firing. We've fired the bottom of this. We're doing the top. That's just here in the ore body. This stope is at 5.2 grams per tonne. It contains about 5,000 ounces in it. We're mining that right now. And it's this higher grade that gives us our optimism in this quarter's production, significantly ramping from last quarter and then coming in at the bottom end of our guidance. So a very, very exciting period for us. And over the next 6 months, we'll extend so that we have multiple levels that we're mining on at present. This is above that. So just here on the surface, we're building the paste plant under construction. That's the belt filter that you can see. So we're putting a paste plant in to maximise the ore recovery. We expect to commission that late in Q3, so September this year. This is a very active area. This is under our existing processing plant. So existing processing plant's up here. This is a crushing house. All through here is going in flotation cells and a grinding mill to increase the recovery from the mid-80s up to about 92%, again with our existing expansion. So this is all underway at present. This is what we've been spending our capital on. So if I just recap Tomingley before I get into being a successful explorers, if you look at our share price trend, we're at about 60 odd cents, which puts our market cap at about $380 million. A large part of our lower rise compared to other people is because our cash balance has been dropping. But if you do any degree of analysis at all, you'll see our cash balance has been dropping because we've been investing in the future of the company. If we look at our exploration, so this is where we are again in New South Wales. This is where we were just talking about with Tomingley. This is Boda Kaiser. It's out here, what we call the Northern Molong Porphyry Project. So, roughly 4.5 hours from Sydney. If you look at our discovery cost per ounce, it costs us less than $20 per resource ounce to discover this. And it's less than $4 per resource ounce to discover Boda because it's very large. If we look at the resource, and all this is of course available online, but you can see that in terms of ounces equivalent, we have nearly 15 million ounces contained in Boda and Kaiser resources. So that's 8.3 million ounces of gold, 1.5 million tonnes of copper. It's the largest discovery in New South Wales in the last decade, and as both copper and gold, it ranks in the top 20 resources within Australia on its own for either of those, and then in the top 10 if you combine the two into an ounce equivalent. It is, however, a lower grade deposit. And so when we talk about the development of this, people in Australia are less familiar with the mining of these type of porphyries. However, the best known examples, of course, Acadia or North Parks, both different styles of porphyries. However, right now, we have just finished the costings. So we did metallurgical test work last year. We've just finished the costings of a plant that obviously looks a lot more complex than this, but in 5, 10 and 20 million tonne per annum feed rates. And we are now combining mine plans that I just showed you back on these pit shells. We're combining those into economics, which is forming a scoping study that we'll put out in about 4 weeks' time. So all that will come out in 4 weeks' time, where we will say, look, if we were to develop a 5 million tonne, a 10 or a 20 million tonne per annum feed rate, remembering it's such a massive resource it can support any of those scenarios, this is roughly what it cost in capital, this is roughly what it would make at a scoping study level, which is plus or minus 30%. That's really to give people an idea of the economics of this deposit and why we've been pursuing it so aggressively. To give you an idea, many of the other companies you will have seen have been exploring, but we've spent the better part of $50 million in exploration money over the last 4 years defining and expanding the size of this resource. And so what we're doing at the moment as well is we're doing baseline environmental studies as well. So of course you put out a scoping study and it says it's going to cost you X bucks, you're going to make Y bucks over X years. Well then of course you have to go and get it approved. And so the first thing to do to get something approved you have to do in New South Wales, 2 years of baseline environmental studies, all the consultation and engagement that goes with that, submit your EIS and then go through that process. Many of you will be familiar with the difficulties that has created for many companies. Here and others, people particularly point to Regis with McPhillamys. Remember, Regis has gone through all the New South Wales projects processes and has that approved. It's now waiting on a federal approval. So it's actually the federal government holding up that project at present. But we ourselves at Alkane, we had the Dubbo Zirconia project approved in 2015, which we then split into another company. We've had the Tomingley gold mine approved, and we've had a complete new mine plan approved for Tomingley again. So we're not a babes in the woods in the approvals process, and we own a substantial amount of farmland which we've bought under all of our deposits, which includes farmland that we bought in and around Boda and Kaiser, though there will need to be more transactions done there to complete that. The only reason I'm pointing that out is to say that this is why we're doing the environmental baseline work. This is all part of doing a scoping study, and we know what we're doing. A little bit on other exploration, because we do spend money, continue to spend money on exploration. We have largely done a phase of what's next through these regions, and we're currently evaluating and collating those results at present. So expect over the next sort of 1 to 2 months we'll be able to put out the summary of some of these other deposits in and around Boda and what they look like and where we think we're going next with those. So that's more news flow coming for the company. And then regionally, some of these other deposits, we look for McPhillamys lookalikes, we look for Boda lookalikes, and we look for Tomingley lookalikes here. And so a large part of these as well, we're also waiting on drill results to then put out the next stage of the company. And so what we'll be doing is in June we'll be putting out our 5-year look ahead plan for the gold mine, and then in late June, early July we'll be putting out an updated business plan, because we'll have the scoping study for Boda, we'll have the 5-year mine plan, and we'll be able to talk more about what these exploration projects are telling us as to where we put our exploration effort. So a lot going on for us, not the least managing and operating gold mine with 250 people working there and a large project capital spend. We're of course doing that, but also really putting the rocket under the scoping study and the extension of the mine life and expansion of throughput at Tomingley. And then a pretty obvious business plan around that. Basically it says, get it done. So that's me done, and I imagine all of you will now look to get lunch done. So thank you for your patience in listening to me, and I hope you enjoy the conference. We're down at booth 90. Cheers.